And I took a course in accelerated learning, and that led me to a class in NLP. And then all of a sudden it was like the floodgates opened up. I was like, wow, I have to learn more of this. It kind of transformed me from being shy to getting out there and sharing the things that I know and that I can do and to help others. And, you know, people started to see me, and I couldn't tell people I was shy anymore because I wasn't. So it just kind of came across in the way that I projected myself and how I was able to use this wonderful tool to get my message across more clearly. And that led me to study as a practitioner level. I got certified and then went on to study with some of the masters of NLP out in California, and came back to the area, got certified as a trainer. And from there, I just started learning hypnosis, and that's a great tool that kind of mixes in Ericksonian hypnotherapy as part of the NLP practice. And I've been doing this for 25 plus years at this point, and I love it. It's great. It's transformed my life. I've helped other people to make amazing transformations in their lives. And I just see where people can start from one place in their life and go someplace else where they're just a bigger, better version of who they were to begin with, but they were kind of hidden inside, and now they're out and expressing more fully who you are.
Right, Mark.
So anyone else like to share? Why would you like to learn NLP? Well, what do you think it would do for you?
Hello.
Hey, Danny,
Hi,
jump
Danny.
in.
So NLP, really want to work on reprogramming my mind to see things in a more positive light, and also look to help others by using this this knowledge.
Cool.
Right.
So NLP was originally created with an interesting preface that computers were originally modeled after the way that they perceived that the mind works. So NLP kind of played that back on itself and said, like, we have the conscious mind, which is kind of like the RAM, what you see on the screen of your computer, the unconscious mind, which is like what's stored on your hard drive, and the superconscious mind, which is our connection to the internet, to other people, and to the world around us. So there's a couple of assumptions or presuppositions of NLP that Cal is going to teach us a couple of them today. I'll probably teach a couple more in other sessions, and we'll go back and forth on this, because it's all about holding the space, the right space for anyone that you work with, any interaction that you have, any client, or even just an interaction with a friend or a business colleague, that it's a useful assumption that makes the conversation more beneficial to both of you. So respect. If you come into a conversation respecting someone else, then they'll have respect for you, and it just creates this mutual arena for both of you to benefit from the conversation, or no matter how many people you're speaking in front of. So the term that you use, reprogramming your mind, is kind of accurate in that, you know, if you try something and you're not getting the results you want, then you either need to try something different, or you need to adjust your mindset or your attitude. So that essentially is reprogramming yourself to ensure your success. So Cal, are you ready to jump in? Or we have Audra hasn't, I don't know if she's going to try.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank you, Cal. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I couldn't unmute before.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Gosh, I've been involved in training and development for probably the last oh goodness, I don't know, 20 years. But I'm new to the world of NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I'm always looking for ways that I can make a bigger difference for the people that I work with. So when Cal talked to me about NLP and what it could do for the people that I work with and for myself, I thought, okay, I'm in. So like I said, I'm here so that I can make a bigger difference for more and more people so that they are freed up to live the lives that they always wanted to but didn't know they could.
Oh, you're in the right place.
Thanks.
Great. So we just finished yesterday a 5-day NLP certification, and you know, we are in that space of you know, growth. We feel like we're bigger than we are because we really are bigger than we are, and you are bigger than you are. And being able to take all that learnings from the past 5 days, and now, you know, it's just sinking in on such a deep level. It's such a beautiful thing. So today we're going to be talking about presuppositions. Presuppositions are key in NLP. This is where NLP is built on, or these belief systems, more like a belief system, more like a structure. In order to make NLP work, this set of beliefs has to hold true. And that's what presuppositions mean, is being able to have a certain, you're presupposing something, you're believing something to be true, so that, you know, everything else will work on top of it. Okay, so presuppositions. What are these presuppositions for NLP? I'm going to go through a few of them today, and that we're going to refer back to them every time we talk about NLP. We refer back to them to just, you know, deepen and strengthen and glue in the learnings, because presupposition is not something that, you know, okay, you know, you learn it first time and now you move on to something else. No, it's more of a it's a glue that makes NLP work. It's a framework that it makes NLP work, are those set of belief systems. So we're going to go through them today, and then of course we're going to keep referring back to them as we go through every Wednesday on this call, where you know, you and your friends, you're welcome to invite people to this call. This is more, we do it just to teach people about this beautiful technology, this amazing, wonderful, magical, transformational technology. You're welcome to invite people to it by sharing the link, and then they come and learn something for themselves, and then they can decide if they want to stay or they want to, you know, do something else. But regardless, you know, this is taking place every Wednesday. You know, I lead it, Ariel, Mark, you know, the combination, the three of us, one of us, you know. So as long as it's always going, it's just providing value to everybody, because we really do believe that when you help a lot of people, that is our goal, is to help a lot of people. And when we're helping a lot of people, you know, the energy exchange of that is just enormous. And we just want to, you know, everybody know about it. And that's really key for us. So presupposition of NLP, respect. So I'm having to share the slides here in front of me. I don't know if you can see it or not. Are you able to see it? Nod your head if you can.
Yeah, can you put it in the presentation mode? Now we see it's yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, this is better. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got Arshad Mullah just joined us. Good morning, Arshad. Welcome. You just came at the right time. And real quick, I'm not sure if you are muted or not, but if you are, right now you are not muted, so you can speak, Arshad. So
hey.
In like 30 seconds or less, what is it that you want to get for yourself out of learning NLP in 30 seconds or less?
Just curious to know what NLP is. I mean, I got introduced to this program from one of our clients I was working with. So I was just curious to know, like, what is it all about and how does it help people in general? So.
Great. It's kind of like a good movie that you go watch and then you go tell people about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that at times.
Arshad is a good friend of mine from grad school. He's in New York.
Right.
Oh, nice meeting you guys.
Okay, nice to meet you, Arshad. All right, welcome. All right, so presupposition of NLP, that's what we're going to be talking about now. One of the, you know, presuppositions of NLP Actually, just to backtrack just 30 seconds before Arshad joined us, just to be all on the same page. Why presuppositions are important? Because presuppositions are the belief system that NLP holds true. Without these set of belief systems, NLP doesn't work. So in order for NLP to work, we need to hold these beliefs in place and hold them true. So it's a glue that it just makes the whole thing work. And it's not something you learn just once. And this is something we're going to be referring to as we go through here every Wednesday on this call. So presuppositions, what are these presuppositions? There's quite a few of them. So I'm going to be going through a few of them here today. One of them is respect for the other person's model of the world. Okay. So everybody has their own way of looking at life, their set of values, set of belief systems that they hold true to, dear to their heart. If I ask you right now, what is important to you about, your career, for example, okay? You may have something like, freedom. It could be maybe fun. It could be money. It could be growth. Right? It could be purpose, whatever that is. For everybody has a different set of belief and values around a certain thing. The same thing if I ask you what is important to you about family or life, right? So there's certain things that are important to you that you have in a certain hierarchy that is different than my hierarchy of values and belief system, how it's wired in my brain. So I respect your model of the world, how you look at the world from your own lenses, from your own filters. This different than the way I look at it from my own filters. So one of the beliefs, one of the presuppositions that NLP is built on, that I respect your model of the world, how you look at the world, and that is it. I respect it. So basically, whatever that you're coming from, this is a place I respect at all times, right? So, and it makes a lot of sense for all of you, yes? The second one is behavior and change are to be evaluated in terms of context and ecology. Okay, so there are certain behaviors. I'm going to repeat that again. Behavior and change are to be evaluated in terms of context and ecology. So there are certain behaviors that are relevant in a certain context. So for me right now, being able here to be in front of you and crack jokes and move around and just be whatever who I am, it's appropriate because this is something that we created. And we want to be fully self-expressed in the process. We want to be who we are. If I do that, for example, in front of a board of directors at one of my clients that come to mind, it may not be in the right behavior. This behavior may not be welcomed or appreciated in that context. Okay, the same thing. If you laugh in a seminar or in a training, this is a good thing. Laughter is a good state to be in. If you laugh at a funeral, okay, it's not accepted, right? So behavior and change are to be evaluated in terms of context and ecology. So what is ecology? Mark, do you want to jump in on ecology?
My favorite definition of ecology is that it's good for you and others now and long term. So
Could you repeat that again, Mark, please?
Ecology is something that is good for you and others now and long term. So it's good for yourself. It's good for all the people around you. It's not necessarily going to go out to benefit everybody, but it certainly doesn't harm anybody. So it's at least neutral or beneficial to everyone within your sphere of influence, and it's neutral or beneficial past, present, and future. And so that's
so why is that important? Why is that important, ecology? Because for example, I got a clients, for example, they come to me, they say, I want to make more money. I've invested a lot of myself, I have a lot of experience, and I really, really need right now to make a lot of more money. And I sit with them and I, elicit their values. And when I elicit their values, I see money is like number 5 or number 6 in the hierarchy of what's important to them. And then they look at it and they say, wow, no wonder why I haven't been able to make, the money that I deserve, because money is not important in that hierarchy of values. So once we're able to take you know, and you take that value from wherever it is and reinstall it high up in the hierarchy of value, now now they start seeing different results. But the thing is, why is it like, why, to start with, why is it low in the hierarchy of value? Anything, doesn't have to be money, it could be love, relationships, whatever, right? But whatever that is, the value, why is it low in the hierarchy? They say they want to make a lot of money, but yet it's lower here. We check on the ecology and they find out that, you know, they have a belief around, like, if I'm making a lot of money, then I'm going to be losing my friends, or my friends won't be connecting with me. Or, you know, they have some belief that carried with them that money is the root of all evil. Or, you know, that, you know, they had some problems growing up. I know I had problems growing up with my parents always fighting over money. And I made it mean that, you know, money, you know, in order to make money, you got to struggle. Okay. So I have all that, you know, carrying with me. So now when I check the ecology, when I make money, is that going to be good for me now? And for everybody around me? You know, on a conscious level, you may say yes, but on a subconscious level, what are you carrying with you in your programming that had it that money, you know, is not present in your life because you've been rejecting it or resisting it some way subconsciously based on your ecology? Okay. So, you know, that's why ecology is so important. Whenever you want to check on something, you want something, you know, new in your life, you want to check the ecology. Is it good for you now? Is it good for you tomorrow, for yourself and the people around you? Okay, that you guys are understanding, yes?
I like the way you tied that together too, that it ties in with the person's model of the world.
Correct. Eyal, you got something to say?
And it really shows how these linked.
So is it like a conscious process? Like, do people just know it consciously, or is something deeper than the conscious?
That's a very good question, Eyal. What do you think?
It's for, so usually when people say like, oh, I want something, I want money, I want a relationship, but, you know, consciously they're like, of course I want it, right? Like there's like, of course it's good for me, good for others. But what we're doing with NLP is really we're digging into their unconscious, their subconscious, the model, the pattern they grew up with, the stuff they put in the side that they don't even know that exists. And our job is to dig that into it, because that's the only way you can clean the dust, by opening up the box and then say, whoa, this is really not right here. Let's clean it first. Like by changing the value, then we can really align the ecology for a client, like consciously and unconsciously, so they have more congruency to move.
That's right, Ariel. Thank you. So third, resistance in a client is a sign of lack of rapport. How many of you on this call, as you're sitting right there listening to my voice and looking at this slide, you may be wondering how many times that you walked into a client or a prospect or a boss or maybe teamwork or a coworker that you find there's a lack of rapport, that they are resistant. They're resistant to what you got to offer. They're resistant to your presentation. They're resistant to your ideas. By show of hands, how many of you had experiences before? Yeah, totally. Most of us do. Most of us do. Whether you're a salesperson, you know your products information, you know the products that you're selling. Yet at times, you know, you find yourself that, you know, you're in front of a prospect, but that prospect is resistant. It's like, yeah, but, you know, we tried that, didn't work. Yeah, I understand, but, you know, whatever, right? So they're resistant to whatever that you are, you know, offering or whatever you are presenting. And whether, or you're coaching with a client, for example, okay, the same thing too. If they are not taking on, you know, the assignments, or they are resisting, you know, doing a certain process, there's always a lack of rapport. So anytime there's a resistance in someone, whether you're speaking to, okay, you need to go and chunk up and build rapport. Okay, you need to go back and build rapport. Basically, what is rapport? Rapport is a sense of connectedness, is a feeling, is a state of comfort and trust, and be able to connect with someone. You know when you're in rapport, when that state is present, that you feel comfortable with someone, you kind of know that person, right? So people like people who are like them, okay? And people who are like each other, they tend to be like each other. Right? So that is a state of rapport that now allows communication to flow and being accepted, you know, in the other person's model of the world. be able to see the world from their own eyes. At least they may not have to agree, but at least they feel they can agree to disagree, and that state is completely there. So one of the exercises we do in the practitioner level during rapport is, I split the people into two, and I get them to debate a point of view that are opposing ideas or conflicting ideas. And then as I'm having them to do this, you can start feeling the tension that's going on. Though that, they've been working together for the past 2 days or whatever, but now that they are, going, with their point of view and they're stating their point of view, you can start feeling this little bit of like kind of, going against each other, right? I mean, of course, it's going to be in respectful context, but you can still, feel that it's going against each other. Now, once I insert that piece of it, that, you start building rapport in the process, they find themselves in a place where they can agree to disagree, and it's completely okay. Okay. And the process of rapport is what creates this. How many of you would find that rapport is key for every relationship that you can have? By show of hands. Right? How many of you would find that rapport, without rapport, there's no relationship, period? Okay. Good. So NLP, we focus a lot on rapport, and we teach you how to be able to create rapport with people, whether you just met them right now, you can do it instantly, okay, and maintain it throughout the process, whether you're on a sales call, whether you are in a meeting, whether you are a team leader, that you're running people, like you have people that on your team reporting to you. Being able to provide them with coaching and feedback, and be able to provide your prospects with opportunities to step into and grow their business and ideas as a consultant, provide them ideas as a coach, be able to provide them with processes and challenges where it's just all accepted and welcome. How many of you would find that would be valuable? Yes? Okay, good. So that's the process of rapport. So resistance in a client is a sign of lack of rapport. Anytime there's resistance, you want to go back and build rapport. How to do that? We teach that in NLP. Now, another one. You want to add anything to this, Mark or Ariel, or we're good?
Well, I was thinking, that the presuppositions, like hearing you talk about it, it's more than just for NLP. This can really be utilized in any coaching model or any time that you're interacting with people. So, and I really like the way that you're tying them together, especially with rapport, because a lot of people just, they'll get rapport, and you mentioned maintaining rapport. So I think that's a key part also, is how to maintain that. Always looking for feedback. Like if you get initial rapport and the client's going along with you, and then you start to feel resistance, that maybe you lost rapport with them. So it's stop trying to push your product or your service, regain rapport, and then you'll be a lot more effective. So
absolutely.
Really great stuff, Cal. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. No, I appreciate that, because, a lot of people think, okay, I did step number one, rapport. I asked about the weather. I asked about their kids. I asked, what school did they go to? Okay, check mark, got it out of the way. And now they can move it. It doesn't work this way, okay? Rapport is more like a spice that you just want to keep sprinkling all over the relationship. Like, what's his name? I think it's, not sure if it's Zig Ziglar or so, I don't know who, but he talks about emotional deposit. What's the name of that author who talks about emotional deposit? Do you guys know what's the name?
Yeah, build the trust. Yeah, it'll come.
Okay, so yeah, it's like an emotional deposit, right? So you're in a relationship with someone, and you do something of value, provide them value, okay, without expecting anything in return. Now you had an emotional deposit in the bank account. You have credit with that person. Whether, for example, you referred that person to a prospect. Okay, and now they did business, and now boom, now they have a client because you referred them a client. That is an emotional deposit, for example. Or it could be something as simple as you went online and you shared with them a menu to cook plant-based meal, okay, and you send that to them, right? Now you have an emotional deposit with that person. So emotional deposits, how much deposit that you have in the other person's account, that helps a lot in maintaining and establishing rapport. That's one way to do it. But people are not their behaviors. That's another presupposition. Okay. So when we say people are not their behavior, accept the person, change the behavior. Many of us, we look at people as like they are their behaviors, right? Basically, you know, many you know, people that come to my seminars, they're managers and leaders, and they are upset because, you know, there's difficult people that they're working with, and these difficult people, they set their own ways, and they're not stepping up. They don't want to grow, and they tell me, you know, I want to inspire them, I want to be able to, you know, help them to grow, I want to help them to learn, yet they're just so resistant to it. Okay. And they're trying to, it's like you take the horse to the water, and now you're trying to push their head in the water to make them drink. You won't be able to do this, right? So people are not their behaviors. You want to accept, first and foremost, what people do is they collapse. What's the word, please? Collapse. When you collapse their behavior with the attitude, okay, and with their identity, that's when you lose people. So what you want to make sure that these two are always separate. People are not their behaviors. People are people. They have their dreams, they have their goals, they have their aspiration. And regardless how much that person that, you know, you have lack of rapport with, or you don't like this person necessarily, you don't like their behavior, right? And when you're able to learn how to communicate that, and communicate that the behavior is the one that's causing that breakdown in communication, now you are allowing, you know, that person to grow, allowing that person to make some changes, to be flexible, rather than, oh, you are no good, or, you know, you are a difficult person. That word "you," it just has big whole meaning around it. It's, you're attacking the identity, you're attacking the ego. And whenever you attack the identity and the ego using the word "you," they want to come out, and it's want to fight for a survival. That's a survival mechanism of the ego. That's a basic, you know, role of the ego, is want to protect and survive. So avoid the word "you" in your communication, and point out, you know, when you show up late, okay, this is causing, you know, a breakdown along the day, and it's causing others to fill in your gaps, and it's causing a bottleneck, which is causing frustration around the team. Notice, when you show up late, not, you know, because you're tardy, you know, it's making me frustrated. Okay, so when you say, you know, it's making me frustrated, okay, now I become as an effect of your way of being, rather than the behavior. Okay, so separate the behavior from the people, and that is one of the beliefs of NLP. It's very important to always separate the behavior from the people.
And in NLP, some like traditional psychology, they say like people are broken. They say people have like bipolar. They say, oh, you have like ADHD. They define, they label people. That's in traditional psychology. And in NLP type of therapy or coaching, we don't believe people are broken. We believe people are whole. We believe people are good. So we function from this belief, and then so we only treat their behavior. So that's when we say accept the person, change the behavior. There's nothing wrong with the person.
Right. I think having 3 children, that was my favorite presupposition of NLP, because to me it's a model of parenting. Is that you don't call the child a bad kid. They're not a bad kid. They're just a kid, and they're doing kid stuff. And you might not agree with what they're doing. You know, if a kid leaves their toys all over and their clothes all over the place, you don't call them sloppy. You don't call them a messy kid. You say, listen, you're a great kid, and this is not really the best behavior to show how great of a kid you are. So maybe if you clean your room and you do all these things, that you can change that behavior in yourself, and kind of live into who, you know, live more from who you truly are, this great kid. So who you are can show up in your behavior, but your behavior can affect who you are over a long period of time. You know, when someone comes to me for stop smoking, you know, there's the identity of a smoker or a non-smoker, and then there's the behavior of smoking or not smoking. So the two can be addressed separately, and it's very effective to look at the person, accept the person for who they are, and work on making the behavioral changes that they're there for. And that's a great tool of NLP. Thank you, Cal.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. And please, if you have any questions, right, just jump in. This is not, you know, my show, Mark's show, or Eyal's show. This is everybody's show. At any time you have anything you want to add, you want to edit, you have a question, please jump in, okay? Don't hesitate to interrupt.
So, Carl, I don't know how you pronounce your name, but when you said about people do not attack the person, do not say as you were late, or rather just say that when you are late, I mean, you're still using you as the word, and I think you're attacking them impartially. Then, I think I agree with Mark's way of when he brought up the kid's example of how he said that you're a great kid. And then he mentioned some of the bad things the kid was doing, or the wrong things the kid was doing. How can you take that and implement in a business scenario where somebody is not doing right things, and how do you attack their? You said that accept the person and change the behavior. How do you kind of attack the behavior in a way that you want to see the positive change? How do you do that?
Very good. So there's plenty of ways to do that, and there's patterns to run. So one language pattern you can use. Well, first the question is, do you want to express how you feel about it, or you want to just point out the behavior? Which one you want to do?
I mean, pointing out the behavior doesn't do entirely good. You're just like you're completing just the half of the process.
Okay, good. So you want to express how you feel about it.
And also make sure that the change is happening at the same time. Right?
Absolutely. Okay, good. How about this? So in the case, give me the scenario. You want to say about the showing up late, or you have anything specific?
Not that I can think on top of my head, but if you have something handy,
okay,
please go on with it.
What if someone's not making enough sales?
Yeah, so that's fine. Okay, so
I mean,
they're not making the calls they need to make. They're not following up. They're not doing all the sales stuff that they need to do.
You touched a great point. I mean, some of the issues we were facing in our with our previous sales guys. So yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, perfect. So, and how do you feel when someone, you know, they're not making their calls, they're not doing their calls, they know what they need to do, but they're not doing it? How do you feel about it?
So a background of just where I work more on the product side, on the engineering side, right? And so whatever work I'm doing that needs to be presented, that needs to be sold, if that's not sold, then all the work I'm doing is obsolete. It doesn't add value to what I'm doing and to the company as well. And so that's where the whole, I personally don't feel great about it. I would personally like them to think of it as like you're the household of the family. You have to work each and every day in order to feed your kids or wife or whatever that is. And I think it's same logic applies in a work scenario as well, that the sales is something that if it's not sold, it has the ripple effect on all the chain, which is functioning under the sales.
Of course. So do you have someone that you have some certain emotional response, like a response towards a behavior that has not been conducive to, you know, what you're doing, that you want to be able to express that?
Can you please rephrase that again?
Yeah. Do you have someone in specific in mind that their behavior, that whatever they're doing, the way you're responding to it is more of like, you know, some state, that unresourceful state that you're responding back to it? It's causing that stimulus, whatever they're doing, you're choosing to respond in some way that has not been resourceful to you, whether it's frustration, overwhelm, irritation, whatever that is.
I think that's
like how do you feel when you think about this person or this person's behavior? How do you feel?
I mean, I feel frustrated. That's to put it in just one word.
Good. So as you think about that person now, okay, what is the behavior that they do that you choose to be frustrated about?
Just the overall lack of professionalism. You know, you have a job role, and you got to fulfill that role.
Good. So my question to you is, Arshad, and this is so great because that's not unusual, and this happens, I see that a lot happening in my seminar rooms, right? You said the lack of professionalism. Is that a behavior or that's the attitude that you have, the perception that you have of them?
It's kind of a gray area, but I would go with the attitude rather than the behavior.
That's right. You got it. So what would be a behavior, specific behavior that they're doing or not doing, okay, that cause you to perceive them as unprofessional?
Showing up late to work, or maybe, you know, just not doing some of the things that they have to do, things
Great.
like that.
Excellent. So now that what you just did, my friend, you separated the behavior from that attitude, your behavior from that person, versus telling them you're unprofessional. The ego is going to come. How do you think that's going to land on them?
It's going to hurt them badly. I mean,
it's going to hurt them badly. I was like, you know what do you mean unprofessional? Matter of fact, you're the one unprofessional, and now boom, you're having a conflict, right? Versus, you know, John, when you show up 8:07 yesterday, that's a behavior, isn't it? Make sense?
Yep.
So yeah, when you showed up 8:07 yesterday, I feel frustrated when you showed up 8:07 yesterday. Will you please show up on time? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Well, also, I think, and this is just me. I'm not questioning your teaching or anything. This just
no, please do. That's what we're here for, so we can all learn from one another. So if there's something that I need to learn, I would love to learn it. So please don't hesitate.
I like to phrase my sentences mostly in a way that do not attack the person, do not show that I'm also being affected. Like when you use the word frustrated, it shows that, you know, some people could take that as a weakness of yours, and it's like, okay, now you're frustrated, so maybe I can you know, depend. People are, every person is different. The person, if he wants to really hurt you, like, okay, you're getting frustrated because I showed 8:07. Okay, now I'm going to show up even more late. Now let's see what happens. You know, people like that, right?
So I have a different way of phrasing that, Ashad.
Yeah.
So you can take it off of any particular person and just, you know, you can maybe address several people, or you can address each person individually and make it purely about the behavior. So say a lot of our clientele are perceiving some of the staff as being unprofessional. And when I asked them how they noticed that, they said because people are showing up late, they're not being where they need to be on time. And we all need to kind of step it up and, you know, be on time. And this will give the whole company an air of being more professional. So like it's kind of like more of a positive, inspiring thing. Rather than beating them up for being late, you're inspiring them to want to be on time, because it creates a win-win-win scenario. So it's good for them, it's good for the company, and it's good for the clients. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Good.
Also, do you think when you're trying to bring in change in somebody, is it good if there is a reward at the end, or do you think that's not a good strategy?
Well, it depends. You must have a reason for you to ask. Is any of that something specific in your case?
No.
Okay. All right, good. So it depends, you know, it depends on the context. You know, always behavior rewarded is behavior repeated. This is in general, right?
Right.
So behavior reward is behavior repeated. And I wonder how many ways you're able to bring those together at any time when you can. That's why positive affirmations and positive coaching is always is so important. As a leader, as a manager, your job is to coach, is to help people grow. Right? You're not managing people, right? You're helping them to grow. You're leading them. Okay. So we moved away from the times when we're managing numbers and managing, you know, managing tasks. Okay. Managers manage tasks. Leaders manage people. Okay. So with that in mind, you want to look at it in such a way, how could I empower that person based on their motivation strategies? In NLP, one of the things that you learn if you choose to dive deep into it now is the meta programs. And the meta programs, one of the meta programs is that people do things for one or two things. They either want to move away from pain or they want to move towards pleasure. Does that make sense? So some people, they want to come to work because they want to have the stability, they want to have the consistency, and they don't want to be struggling in the life, and that's the main motivation, okay? Or they come to work, or they do the work so that they won't get fired. Okay. And some people, they come to work because they want to grow, they want to be promoted, and they want to be able to create freedom, financial freedom, independence for themselves, for their families. They both are the same thing, but what motivates that one person from the other person is something different. Question to you, would it make sense? Would it be of value to you as a leader to understand what motivates that person?
Absolutely.
Why do you suppose?
Because it's important to understand what keeps them motivated, what keeps them driving, and depending on that, you can basically have different strategies for people to grow or manage them in general.
That's right. That's right. You're getting it, Arshad, aren't you?
So the cool thing is that once you understand their model of the world, and this kind of ties back into the presuppositions, is what motivates them. Are they motivated away from pain or towards pleasure? You can start to build into your language and the way that you address these issues that you cover both. And it creates what's called a propulsion system. So these are some of the tools that you can combine. So it's away from the pain. So it's not just about not being fired. It's not just about achieving higher levels in the company. But what happens is you combine the motivation, that they have a direction that they're heading towards, all these positive things they want to accomplish. And if they slack off a little bit, then they kind of get motivated by the pain of not accomplishing that. So you can use the two in combination and create that propulsion system. And understanding this, see, the biggest thing that I got from NLP is that it wasn't something that was created as much as it was observed and discovered.
Right.
So these are models of how people effectively communicate with each other, and things that work. They've been proven over time. And when you learn them, and they might be things that you do automatically and naturally, but when you bring it a little bit more to your conscious awareness, and then you put it at the higher level of conscious excellence, then you can do it consciously and intentionally, and then just let it be automatic again as well. That makes sense?
Cool. As I got out of that tent and I'm walking to this beautiful, wood ship, and here I am, I'm just walking around it on the beach, and I'm just like in awe. I was like, wow, this is something special about it. I feel there's something special about it. And there's two older men, they're just like standing right there and like sitting there. So I come over and I ask them, it's like, hey, what's up with that ship over here? It said this has been going on for many, many, many years. This is a Polynesian, thing that's been happening, is that they go travel around the world, they sail around the world, and they go and they teach and they show and they share the Hawaiian culture, the Hawaiian music, the Hawaiian songs, and the Hawaiian arts, and the Hawaiian food with the world. And they don't use any of the navigation system. They don't use any technology. They just go by looking at the stars, because they have all the resources they need and be able to allow them to go and discover, explore, and learn. But more importantly, share what they already know. So what questions do you have? We covered 4 of these presuppositions today. What questions do you have? Or takeaways, just quick takeaways, one person at a time.
I'll go first. I think the behavior thing was something really interesting. I found that they're not tied together with the person, they're separate. And I think that's how you tackle them rather than brand them as one specific thing. I think that was something really important. And without this webinar, I don't think I would have been aware of that fact.
Well, thank you. Next person, please.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway too. That it's really essential that we don't see a behavior that someone commits and say that's them, because also we're labeling that person, and by tying someone to their behaviors, then we create like a bias in which we will look for bad things that will match that behavior, confirmation bias, and we want to refrain from that.
That's great. Thank you, Daniel. Mark, Ariel.
Yeah, very cool. I like the way that this all tied together. And also, you know, when you ask someone who are they, a lot of times they'll talk about the you know, they'll say, I'm a lawyer, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a this. And it kind of like in our society, we link the behavior and the identity. So it's real key understanding.
Mark, your unconscious mind is really getting out of your head. You gotta look at it. Whoa!
Yesterday. Oh my gosh.
It's my luminous mind behind me.
Yes. It's really is a great foundation for what we're gonna really dig into, because NLP it's a lot about changing behavior patterns. Really is a study of human behavior and how to change the behavior so we can produce the best results for ourselves and others. So I feel this four are very, very important. And then there are, if you think you're benefiting from this is really just a little single drop into the ocean. The NLP is so much more, so much more. And
I mean, there's just 14 more presuppositions, I believe. Right?
Yeah. And plus what, like 14 more chapters? I don't know, for just practitioner.
All right, good. We have somebody on the phone. I'm not sure who that person is, but you are unmuted right now. Just one biggest takeaway for you.
Great. Cal, this is Audra. I'm sorry I had to dial in for the rest of the call.
Sure, of course.
The thing that I'm taking away is whenever there's resistance, rapport has gone out. So to pay attention to rapport, make sure that gets back in. That's the big takeaway that I'm taking away, in addition to everything everyone else said.
Excellent. Great. Thank you, Audra. Drive safe. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for being on this call. This takes place every Wednesday. You, someone in your team or your friend or a family or a friend or a boss or a prospect or a client, you want to give them a gift. That would be one way you can give them, is refer them, get them here, let them learn something for themselves so that they can help change themselves, change the people around them, and hopefully that will change the world. Until then, be fearless, everybody, and go out there and make a difference. Thank you very much for being on the call.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.